How's it going, everyone? It is another episode of the Dynasty Pylon. Today is Tuesday, August 10th. We are pre-recording for tomorrow for August 11th. We have a little bit of hiccups due to staffing. Mark is in the urgent care right now. Hopefully he does okay. Casey, sorry about the whole misconception of the flights and all that, but we'll get you in. Real cool guy from Seattle. I was hoping his opinion would be very valued today, which it probably was because we're talking about keep trade cuts today, and I'm here with Mike,
What
and we're
up?
talking about Russell Wilson, Raheem Mostert, and OBJ. So, Mike, how's it going over there? You're in New York. Uh,
Yeah,
so,
today's been all right. Just a normal day in the neighborhood. Can't
so
complain.
what do you guys in the Get Right Fantasy Boys doing over there tonight? You guys got your tournament, right?
Yeah, we got a mock draft tonight at 10:30. So we're gonna be running that in a little bit. And then
Well,
it's
today's
just
Wednesday, so is that
yeah,
still? Well,
yeah. We're
today
doing
is
today.
Wednesday. Today is Tuesday. Tomorrow's a Wednesday. So, are you
So
guys
we're
still
doing
doing
it
that for?
today, tomorrow, and Thursday, and
Okay,
then top three of those are gonna be in on our
the
Friday
championship, right?
show with the Mocket Championship. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
So yeah, and I'm probably more than likely going to be doing that one, and hopefully doing that with Anthony or Tycoon. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Well, it sounds good. I mean, I know I was told about it earlier, but I've been all over the place. I'm not even home actually. Currently in Montana. I'll be
Oh
here for
wow,
about 2 weeks. So yeah, just kind of taking some time off before school starts. But
nice.
yeah. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem,
You kind of saved me a little. So,
man.
but I'm like, you know what? He's perfect. He knows IDP. We're
Yep.
doing also besides the keep trade cut, we're doing the one offense and one defensive breakout sophomores that we believe that are probably going to make a big impact on your fantasy leagues. And if you do IDP, we'll then stick around. We'll do one offensive or one defensive player from each of those as well. So let's start with the keep trade cut, and that we have again Russell Wilson, Raheem Mostert, and OBJ. So the reason I picked these guys is these guys are kind of on their last leg on their teams, potentially could be somewhere else next season, depending on how well they perform. Uh, we've heard the rumors with Russell Wilson. He wasn't too happy earlier in the season. And they fixed his line. Now it seems like everything's okay. We're not too sure about it. And then Raheem Mostert, well, we know running back shelf life aren't that high. And then OBJ, well, that is just a roller coaster of emotions over there. So I don't know how to think about if he's going to be there next season or if we're still kind of reliving the whole rookie season in New York. And that's just kind of what we think is hopefully the breakout again, but we'll see. So, do you have anything about those three guys before we get into who you would you or you just kind of want to just
No, that's exactly what I would say about all three of them. So
okay?
there's a lot going on with them. Mostert in his backfield. They just drafted. Um, oh, I forgot. I'm forgetting his name. I know it's Sherman. Oh, Trey Sherman. There we
Yeah,
go. They also drafted another guy on top of that, Elijah Mitchell. So that they it looks like San Francisco was trying to show everybody, hey, Mostert might be on the way out, but it's a very hard thing to think about because another show that I like to watch, and I bet half the viewership here likes to watch is the fantasy footballers, and
good
Janikowski.
guys.
Oh, great guys.
Yeah,
And that's the thing. They had Janikowski, the fullback for the San Francisco 49ers on there. And he was basically telling them, watch out for Mostert. Like we're going to feature him. He's going to be our guy. He's, always there. So for me, it's very hard. When I hear a player telling me this, it's like, wow, this is really interesting to know. And it makes me, kind of think, what do I do now? Like I agree. He's 29 years old. He's at the point where running backs are, expendable, where you can basically just say, I'm not going to have him next year. And then it's Todd Gurley and, he's not signed to another team. So He had a great season, 2 seasons ago, and he kind of fell off last season, with injuries. And, it's typical for running backs anyway, because they get, just pounded into the ground.
Right.
But, that's where I'm a little bit hesitant on him. But at the end of the day, it's a running back. They are somewhat expendable. So you always have to think about that, especially in Dynasty, when you're trying to, have your team taken care of.
Right.
So, for someone like me, I'm in a Dynasty salary cap league. And if someone like
Those are so
Mostert,
cool, by the way. They're
oh,
so
yeah,
cool.
they're fantastic. I love
I read
those.
your article, man. It's crazy.
Thanks, man. And yeah, it's really interesting for someone. If I have a guy like Mostert at, I don't know, $20 or more, there's no point in keeping him. There's no point in having him on my team, because he's just taking up space. And especially if he's not going to be playing anymore. Now, do you
Right.
keep him until he's not available? Yeah, of course. But sometimes, people get in, especially in those types of leagues, they get into a sense of they need it because they need security of it. And even if he gets some touches, that's fine. I don't care, and they rather have it on someone they know compared to someone that they don't know. But that's the give and take of that type of league. But in a regular Dynasty league, that's where the fun is you don't really need to rely on him. They just drafted the guys that are going to replace him.
Yep. Trey Sermon. Right.
Yeah. Well, him or Elijah Moore, not Elijah Moore. I'm sorry. Elijah Mitchell,
Yeah.
either one
I
of
think
them.
Trey Sermon more than is more the biggest kind of the factor there, the
Yeah.
bigger threat. But yeah, you mentioned Janikowski. I almost laughed because it Kyle Juszczyk, right? The fullback.
Oh, yes. I
Yeah.
apologize. I
When you
said his
said
name wrong. I'm
Janikowski, I
sorry.
was like, the kicker?
It's been a while.
You're good,
Yeah.
man.
No,
I got
you're
you. I
right. I'm
got you.
sorry.
Well, we'll probably get some comments on that, but it's all good. Um, so
It's on me, not on you.
no, I got you, man. I got that. So
Yeah.
I knew who you were talking about. I'm pretty sure all the other viewers probably knew what you're talking about too. So, but yeah, no, I agree. The biggest threat there. I mean, I know in some draft in dynasty leagues that a lot of people are getting Trey Sermon, and the startups are probably getting Trey Sermon before Mostert.
Oh, yeah.
So I've seen that a few times, which kind of blows my mind. But then at the same time, it doesn't, because everyone knows that Mostert is going to be the main starting running back, with probably 50-50 with Trey Sermon. So yeah, no, everything you said about that, I totally agree. The dynasty, you got to think about the future. You got to think about what are you going to do with Raheem Mostert now? Are you going to trade him? Are you gonna maybe package him deal? More than likely, the best option to do is to package him with someone, maybe a draft pick, like something towards the end, like a 12th or 11th draft pick in the first or second round with him, to see if you could maybe get even Trey Sermon for him. We don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, so 49ers are definitely going to be look at a better offense. I've heard nothing but good things with Trey Lance potentially actually taking over as the number one QB there. But as of now, we have Jimmy G, who's going to be the guy still.
Yeah.
But if Trey Lance takes over, which I'm not doubting at all, I think probably by week 7 he'll probably be there or something like that.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I think Mostert would probably be a more valuable asset, because he's probably a lot quicker than Jimmy G, and probably roll out a little dump off pass to him or Sermon. But him being there, I'm not saying I would not take him. I would take him, but I wouldn't doubt like not sliding him and like not passing him up. I would take him if he falls down to me in the 4th or 5th round for sure in a startup league. I wouldn't doubt that. I would probably take him because I know he's the number one as of now.
Yeah.
So our next guy is Odell Beckham Jr. He's been in a roller coaster. He's been injured, and then saying that blame it on the injury after the season was done, saying, "Oh, I couldn't perform as well because of this injury." Well, is that as an excuse? We don't know. But what's weird is after OBJ was injured, I felt like the Browns were doing a lot better without him.
Yes.
So in my eyes, I felt like, was he a cancer to that offense?
Oh, I completely agree.
And I don't know if you heard, but I heard and I think I read about it somewhere. I can't remember where it was last season, but um, Mayfield actually felt pressured by OBJ.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
read that.
yeah,
Yep.
he threw to someone else. They would get the touchdown, and instead of being happy and
Yeah.
celebrating about it, he would run over to OBJ and say, "Hey man, you'll get yours. I'm sorry. Like, why are you apologizing? No, this is your team. You guys should all be celebrating that someone on your squad made a touchdown. You're up by 6 points. But
Yeah.
that to me was unhealthy. But then OBJ was gone, so I think all that kind of just the weight lifted off his shoulders, and Baker Mayfield balled out. People forget that they had 3 of those games in some. They were in the middle of a
They were
typhoon.
they were
Like,
horrible.
it was
Horrible
raining. It
weather.
was a crap weather, and people aren't taking that into consideration. And this is probably why Mayfield's kind of low on some people's ranks, but I think he's gonna do really good this season. But as OBJ, hopefully, um, in my opinion, I hope he can like keep that diva deep inside and just play the game. I know it's going to be hard, but I
So
don't know if that's possible.
so I have to ask you this question. Okay. This is what I think about with OBJ. This is how I've been viewing him for the last few times. But I'm going to ask you this question. When you think of injury prone, who do you think of? Sammy Watkins or OBJ?
OBJ.
Over Sammy Watkins.
Well, because I just have a hatred over Sammy Watkins that he just sucks. Even though like I look, I know the people are going to hate
Oh,
on
you're
me
right.
for this, but he gets injured. They both get injured. I would say roughly almost the same amount of time from what I
Who do you
feel.
think who do you think has played more games?
Hmm. I'm
They were and I'm going to tell you that they were both drafted in the same draft class.
Sammy. Only because he played a lot more in Buffalo.
Wow, he's played 6 more games than OBJ in his career. And
That's it?
everyone labels, yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
but that's the thing.
That's not a lot. That's not much.
But everyone labeled Sammy Watkins as a guy that is injury prone. Like that's his title. He played 2 great seasons in Buffalo and then just fell off this, the face of the earth.
Oh yeah.
And that was the thing. So everyone viewed him as an injury prone guy and avoided him like the plague.
Right.
OBJ had 4 good seasons, but then fell off the face of the earth like he has been recently. And that's my biggest problem with OBJ. He can go and have a top 10 day as a wide receiver any day of the week. He can. But the
Mhm.
problem is that he's too much of a diva that he like you said, he gets mad at Baker for not throwing him a touchdown. Like, come on now. You're there for the team. You're there for, you say you support the guy, you say you support the team, but yet you cry over not getting a touchdown. I'm like, I'm really sorry there. And it really just gets to me about a lot of things. Like he was a giant. He did well with Eli. He had
Oh yeah,
his
he did
best
fantastic.
career, and he was amazing. I have a signed football of him right down on my thing, and I mean he was a little bit of an ass, but and Dustin hates him because apparently he took his table at a strip club or something like that. But my whole thing is that either way, I don't like how he handles things. I much rather have a guy like Jarvis Landry who gets the ball and is peppered like crazy. And I really did think once OBJ came over to Cleveland with Landry, I thought that they would have a little bit of a better scenario. I thought Landry would go like, dude, like,
Yeah, with the
stop.
chemistry that they've been playing together, right?
Well, but no, just the brotherhood they had, and Landry's a little bit more solid veteran. He's been around a couple, I think a year or two longer. I thought he was just going to take him and go, let's just let's stop. Let's just get and let's win.
Right.
Let's get a championship.
Little brother, big brother kind of thing. Like, hey, yeah.
Exactly. But unfortunately, that never happened. And granted, Odell only played 8 games last season, but he was good when he was on the field. So it's hard not to like the guy for fantasy or to want him on your team. The problem is he has the same problem as Watkins. He gets hurt,
Right.
and the ones that he's played in, he hasn't gotten like little hurt. He's gotten like broken ankle, ACL tear. Like he's gotten the big injuries. He's not getting those little ones. And the ones that he gets with the soft tissue, he tends to, play that little diva and go, oh, I don't want to play today. I've just never been a huge fan of him when it came to, after he left. I was real happy what we got with, when I was really happy with the trade. I went, thank you.
Do you remember
I'll
what it
take
was?
It was either Jabril Peppers in a first or something like that,
For
or
Obi. Wow, that's
or it was Kevin Zeitler. We either got Zeitler or Peppers. I forgot which one. I think it's Peppers if memory serves me right. And then we got draft picks for him, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. I'll take it. Like, get out. I've always liked Jabril Peppers. He's always been a really solid safety that can play anywhere, that can, plays that inside linebacker well when he comes in on nickel packages and stuff. I've always liked him.
And he's a punt returner too, so that's always a plus.
I don't like that he does that. I know that he
fantasy
can.
purpose, I think it's kind of cool.
Oh no, of course. No.
IDP leagues.
No, for sure. But for as a fan of the Giants, I don't want him out there like running, punts back. I'd rather him be a little bit more. Correct. Yeah. Oh, we signed John Ross for a reason. Like let's use him for that. Like I don't want him getting hit on freaking punt returns and kick returns. Like there's no point for that. Why injure one of your best defensive players because he's good at doing it? Like let him intercept a pass and then block for him. Like I
agree. I actually like Jabril Peppers. Now, like we're throwing him out there. I like Jabril Peppers. I actually drafted him last season in one of my IDPs as a main safety.
Nice.
But I got frustrated the first 4 to 5 weeks where he did nothing.
Yeah.
And
he took a minute, and Blake Martinez takes a lot away from takes a little bit away from him.
I ended up I had Jeremy Chin. So nice. I ended up at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm done with him. He's obviously not doing what I expected him to do. So I just rolled with Jeremy Chin, which turned out okay. Jeremy Chin is still,
it worked out in the long run.
But I ended up dropping him. And of course, what happens in fantasy, you drop a guy and then he explodes for someone else. Yeah. That's my only frustration with Jabril Peppers, but I love the guy now that we're bringing him in there. But I agree with the whole thing with OBJ. If the diva does not go away, I don't think that they're going to be successful. And I think it's going to be a bad, chemistry in the locker room unless Mayfield just, he's no longer that younger guy. He's now considered like 4 or 5 years in. Like he knows the system better than anybody there probably because, well, unfortunately it's going to be
Savansky came in and changed it. Yeah.
But I mean, he's been there with different coaches, different schemes every time. And this is the first time that they're going to have a repetitive coach, him being there. So I think Mayfield, it's on Mayfield to set him straight.
Oh, I agree.
But if not, then that's the case with OBJ. So neither of us are kind of high on OBJ either.
No, I think
let someone else deal with him in fantasy.
And that's kind of how I feel about him. I've always been that guy where I'm just like, go ahead, like, oh, you got OBJ? Oh, yeah. Thank you for making it so that I don't have to take him later on and when he drops though. Well, that's the thing. He'll drop so low that you get to a point where you're like, 8th round, do I take him?
Like him or like, what's his face from the Cardinals? Freaking Eliza, or was it Eliza something like he's like a 2nd round pick that they were supposed to have.
Oh, Randall Moore?
No. Oh God,
Rondale Moore?
Oh, I would take Moore over him anyway.
Yeah.
Is a not Christian Kirk or Hopkins or Fitzgerald, is Isabella. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, Andy Isabella.
Like Isabella or OBJ. It comes down if he sinks down that low.
I wouldn't even take Isabella.
But I mean, of course.
I would take OBJ over. I would take OBJ
that's what I'm
over
saying.
Isabella.
Like if it comes down that low, if people just sleep on him or nobody wants him because of that, you'll take OBJ at that point. But
for sure. I mean, I have him at 29 on my rankings.
That's high.
29 is he's just outside wide. He's just a mid. To me, he's a mid-tier wide receiver too. You can't view. Everyone views him as a wide receiver one or with low end value, and I'm
I don't
like,
think he
no.
is. Landry's consistent. Landry
Oh, I agree.
produces
And
consistent
I have
numbers. I think
Landry at.
he is the number one.
I have 33. I have him at 33, but it's only just because I like other guys above him. And OBJ has talent but his is more of a spike and, a really big wave like this. Landry just consistent.
Right.
So I can't really, I'm not going to put someone that high that has a lower floor in that case. I rather have Odell a tad higher. But
At
I think
29, that's impressive. I mean,
I wanted to drop
who's
him.
30,
I'm not
30,
inclined.
31, 32?
Chark, Chase, and Robbie Anderson. But I like Anderson more. I would take
I would
Anderson
take those three
over.
over OBJ.
Oh, for sure. And that's my thing. I'd take Tyler Boyd above him, and I have him a little bit lower. I'd even take Juju Smith-Schuster at this point. I don't really like OBJ that much. It's just that's how I feel like, excuse me, where he's going to end at the end of the season. Like when I do my rankings, I'm thinking long term at not today of how well he is. I'm thinking like how his outcome will be
at the end of the season or later. Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's OBJ.
Mm-hmm.
So we sharped on him. And the last guy is not a running back and not a receiver, and it's Russell Wilson, QB. So we've heard the rumors like how he was unhappy and they didn't fix the line and blah blah blah, and he was ready to go out the door. Trade rumors, just everything everything negatively in Seattle, not letting him be who he was. They're going to be a run heavy team. Everything wasn't looking his way. Russell Wilson was doing fantastic before their bye week.
Yep.
I don't know what happened, but as soon as they got back from that one bye week, everything just plummeted. There was rumors saying that DK Metcalf is going to be the new number one in drafts next season. Clearly, that didn't happen. So, what are your thoughts on Russell Wilson and all that negativity? And then compared to now in training camp, it seems like it just went away.
So, my thing with Russell is he's an elite quarterback. You cannot. I mean, he is just that guy that the team is not going to let him go that easily. Mm-hmm. They're going to do what they can to make him happy. The only thing that I don't like that's throwing me off a little bit is that, Dwayne Brown, the right or the left tackle, they're not paying him and he's holding out right now. So it's one of those things where if they were listening to Russell, they'd be paying this guy and going, you're the top left tackle. Let's take you. They traded for Dwayne Brown and gave away a ton to get him. So
did you see the comment that he put the other day?
Who, Dwayne Brown?
Russell.
No, I didn't.
I took it to social media and just said it's it's pretty significant, like how he felt about him. But he said not having Dwayne Brown out there is a pretty significant deal because he thinks that he's one of the pretty much the most elite guy there. Like he is definitely
he's a
valuable
step down
player.
Yeah, he's a step down from Tyron Smith. I mean,
but that's how Russell felt.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's what should happen.
And that's what he basically tweeted or whatever. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and he's protecting him. And to be honest, they don't have anybody else on that line that just screams out like he's a good, offensive lineman. And he wanted to do essentially what Rodgers wanted to do. Rodgers wanted to have a little bit of control, say, hey, I know these guys. Let me give you my input. I understand that you guys make the rules, but I'm an elite guy. I know what's good. I know what's helpful for this team. I know what we can do to make things better. And they don't want to listen to him. And I think that's becoming a new thing around the league with everybody. I mean, Russell talking about it. Rodgers been talking about it. For years, everyone knows that Peyton Manning was the one that was, kind of the puppet master in the background trying to help, get get the players he wanted in there.
Right.
So these guys have earned that right. I mean, they've been, Russell's brought them to how many Super Bowls? 3?
Yeah.
If memory serves me. I mean, Rodgers, same deal. Like they've done well for their team and have been there, and they've been a huge value for their team in revenue and everything else. I mean, they're the franchise quarterback. You think of Seattle, you think of Russell Wilson. Like, those are the guys that you think about.
No, and you're right. You're absolutely right.
And Russell, and even with his cruddy season last year, what was he? Let me see. He was quarterback 6, even with the horrible season he had last year.
He still made top 10.
Yeah, he makes top 10 almost every year. I have to go back. I have to really look back to see how far I can find him that he wasn't in the top 10. And that's the other thing. He's durable. He might take a hit or two, but he plays every game. I mean, I don't remember how many games he's actually up to, but he's up there. And I remember seeing that this guy takes care of his body regardless. And he'll go out there playing hurt, and he's played hurt a couple of years, and he's done well regardless of what he does.
He makes it happen. Yep.
He's thrown for, what is it? Yeah, he's thrown just for about 35 or 33, I think, is the lowest number he had in yardage. He throws above 4, that number every year. He throws for, I think, 20 touchdowns or more every season. I mean, it's incredible what he can do. And they don't want to protect him. Last season, he got sacked 47 times. I mean, you can't let your franchise quarterback get sacked that much. Pay Dwayne Brown and just get it over with. I understand Jamal Adams is there. You traded for him. You traded a lot to get him. He's also holding out. I get it. He's a top safety. I mean, the guy is one of the best safeties out there. I get it. Yeah, you got 2 guys asking for money, and you probably don't have it. So find something that you can do and work it out with somebody and get him in there. And like I said, he's an elite quarterback. Do not let the guy go.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, it's like with the argument with Aaron Rodgers earlier this season.
Yeah.
He witnessed other franchise quarterbacks make calls in the draft, make calls who to get. And I think this is the same concept, the same idea that Russell Wilson is seeing. How come you're not listening to me? I'm your guy. His opinion should be valued.
I agree.
And I think this is where that argument is at. If they're not going to listen to him, this is where you get disgruntled guys, such as Aaron Rodgers. They get disgruntled, and then they want to play. And Russell Wilson, surprisingly, like you said, is still there, still plays every game, minus all the drama that's probably happening in the office over there. But
it's 128 games. 128 games. He's played 16 games since 2013.
And he's still there, and he still makes it happen. You got to love the guy for Seattle. He's like their hero.
Oh, and honestly, he is that type of quarterback. I'm telling you, the guy is he's somebody that you can't help but like. And yes, if you make him upset, he's going to go somewhere else. And I guarantee you, there are 31 other teams that would want Russell Wilson. I don't care if they have a franchise guy or if they have somebody that's there. If you have the opportunity to get him, you will take him, because he is both a guy in the locker room that you want, and he's also a guy that just oozes, that thing about, that swagger that you can't believe. He's just a really good quarterback, and he can be very consistent, except for last year, which annoyed the living hell out of me.
But he still made top 10, so it annoyed argue with that.
True. I picked him up at last season. I traded for him after Dak went down. I packaged him with James Robinson, and I traded away a first and a fifth for him. And I was like, I got very underwhelmed when I got him, and then he did nothing. And he wasn't putting up.
Practically traded the farm for him.
I tried, yeah. And I went in that season, or last season, with no first, second, or third round pick. I drafted Leonard Fournette in the 4th round as my RB1 because I thought he was staying in Jacksonville. So I had all these things going for me. I didn't have a good, I was doing okay in the start of the season. I grabbed T. Higgins and a couple other guys that made my team okay. But at the same time, I was like, well, am I going to have to start streaming quarterbacks? And I got really nervous because I wasn't sure. I mean, I actually didn't play him in week 17 or week 16. And I ended up playing Baker Mayfield against the Jets because it was the Jets. And, I was like,
of course, you start everyone against the Jets. And this year, you're going to start everyone against Houston.
Yeah.
There's always that one team. And the year before that, you start everyone against Washington and Miami. There's always that one team you start everybody against. No matter how deep they are on their depth chart, they're gonna explode.
That
but yeah,
actually almost failed me because Baker had a horrible game against the Jets.
Really?
Oh, that was his worst game of the year. He had I think 10 points. I got to look back. But at the same time, I ended up playing week 16 just happened to be Christmas Day. That week that Kamara had his monster 56-point game. And I ended up beating Kamara. Strangely enough, even with the Baker, thing, I ended up beating the team. I beat Kamara.
That's awesome.
I beat Elliott. I beat trying to remember the team he had. Mari Cooper, Allen Robinson. This guy had literally he was 12-2. He had 3 first-round picks. He had 2 second-round picks, and he had 2 third-round picks. And the guy had a monster team. He rolled through everybody. He literally only lost 2 games. I think he was 12-2. Went into the playoffs, lost the first one, faced me in the third place, consolation game. Right. And I beat him in the consolation game with Jeff Wilson, Miles Gaskin, and David Montgomery and Stephon Diggs. And those guys took me over the top to beat Kamara.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, it was fantastic, and I still rub it in his face to this day.
Hey, as you should, and you still can for the rest of the time being. You guys are in the league together. Why not? That is cool.
Yeah.
Because everyone who had Kamara that game was pretty much had it in the bag. So.
Yeah.
For you to successfully beat him, that is.
Oh, I was texting him that Friday when that happened, or Thursday or whatever it was. And I was texting, I'm like, okay, congrats. I basically give up right now because you're going to kill me.
Yeah. It just, Kamara shut the souls of so many fantasy players that day.
Yeah.
It was funny.
That was a bad day.
Yeah. So with that being said, with Russell Wilson, Raheem Mostert, and OBJ, again, like I said, we are doing the keep trade cut segment. So as of those, who are you gonna keep, and who are you gonna cut, and who you gonna trade out of those 3? Who?
So I'm gonna be keeping Russell Wilson. Like I said, the guy's an elite quarterback. He is worth keeping. He's going to be around for another, 10 years. He's definitely going to play at that level. If people start listening to him, he can play at that level. I'm not worried about him. Russell, I'm keeping.
Okay.
To trade, I'm going to have to go with OBJ, and it's really only because, like I said before, he has those spike games that can, put him in top 10. You're going to only be able to trade him on those spike games if you can, have somebody, willing to see it. But other than that, he's just someone I don't want on my team. If you can get good value for him, unfortunately, you're just going to get low value. I mean, you're definitely going to have to sell low and expect, to get something very low, because I think everyone else understands who OBJ is now. And then I'm cutting Mostert. I mean, he's a like we said before, he's expendable. He's a running back at, he's 29 years old, and it doesn't look good. His future doesn't look good when it comes to being in San Francisco or being that lead guy, because if he gets hurt again, he's done. So
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much his last season. I would assume if he successfully goes throughout. Like they're in the Niners. I believe it might be his last season. He might.
I think they only gave him a 2-year extension. I think.
Yeah, so he might be there somewhere else, but he's pretty much done. Well, I'm just saying as a starter,
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
Sermon definitely gonna take over. So I agree with what most of you said, with pretty much everything what you said, but I'm gonna change it up and say um, I would keep Raheem Mostert for his probably potential last final run season, just to see how well he does. He is still the RB1 there, and he's still like the it factor guy there. As we do know in Dynasty, the rookie will come in and take over eventually. But I will keep him for this one season. Hopefully, in my lineup, I would have other running backs, and he's not my main guy, or else I wouldn't keep him. That's definitely would be a big issue worry going into the off season. And off season is very fun. That's where you make your biggest moves for picks and players and whatnot. So I would keep Raheem Mostert just for this final season, see how he does. And then I'm gonna say trade Russell Wilson. I do agree with keeping him just because of everything what you said. He's elite. He's going to be there for a while. But if I trade Russell Wilson, I could probably get a lot more.
Yeah.
It's a couple of first, maybe a running back to for my foreseeable failure future Raheem Mostert possibly. Maybe trade for someone like if another owner needs a QB really bad, and maybe he has Jonathan Taylor on his squad, maybe I could trade Russell Wilson straight up for him. Maybe Russell Wilson and like a pick. We'll see. I mean, he's a sophomore running back. Maybe someone like that with that stature, a younger running back. But I know that I'm not going to get the same value, trading value for OBJ or Raheem Mostert as much as I would with Russell Wilson. I think I grab a lot more for Russell Wilson. So I think I would trade Russell Wilson, maybe for mac and cheese, the Mac Jones, or I don't know if I'll get Justin Fields out of it or Trey Lance, maybe potentially, we don't know, depending on the owners. And I'm gonna cut OBJ. Even though everyone thinks he's going to do good and he probably should do good this season, again, earlier what we talked, it really depends on Mayfield controlling that diva and seeing how well he does. I just want no part of it. I want no part of it. It's too much of a risk. It's like back in the Antonio Brown days. We don't know if he was going to be a diva this week or a diva next week, and I don't want any of that drama. I'm going to let someone else worry about that. Let them see if he's going to get in trouble this week or get in trouble next week or get injured. If he goes down, then he's no longer my worry. Why? Because I cut him, and someone else can waste their time on him. And that's just me. So
no, I agree with you, because that was when I was first looking at this and first like trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I actually had that mindset. I was actually going with trading Russell, and I was either going to keep OBJ or cut Raheem. I mean, it was one of those two, but it made sense, just the way that you put it. You're going to get a ton more for Russell than you would for OBJ. So I really think it's based on your roster construction, of course, but I really, in this case, like I said, keeping him just makes more sense if you want to win now. If you're looking to build, then definitely, you're trading Russell and you're gonna see what you can get for him. But yeah, overall, I agree with you. It's really what your particular situation is.
Especially with other league mates as well. I mean, what you had said, the way you had keeping OBJ or keeping Russell, trading OBJ and cutting Raheem Mostert, I agree with what you had there. I actually kind of had a few scenarios on what you would say, and I would flip flop the way just to keep the viewers a little interested. So, but so that's why I kind of let you go first. That way I could just readjust my target here. But
no, it makes sense.
So yeah, that was keep trade cut with Russell Wilson, Raheem Mostert, and OBJ. So, so the next we have end this show, we have sophomore breakouts. You and I talked about potential sophomore breakouts. We talked about an offensive rookie that didn't have a good season or had a season, and this is going to be his breakout season. And yes, this is also an IDP show, so we also picked 2 defensive players. Do you want to go offense first and then end it with defense, or do you want to go defense first and change it up?
No, it
what do you
doesn't
want to
matter
do
to
first?
me. Yeah, let's go. Let's end it on defense.
On defense, okay,
Yeah.
not bad. So I'll start off. I think you started off with your keep trade with Russell or whatever. I think you started off first. So my defensive player, and I had 2 of them. I'll honorable mention Jalen Johnson, cornerback out of Chicago. I think he's going to have a good year. But my actual, I think, breakout in ID, or I'm sorry, we're doing offense. We're doing offense.
Yeah,
I'm
I was gonna.
My bad. All right, scratch that. But Jalen Johnson, my honorable IDP league. Before we get into that, so this was. I thought about this before the injury to his quarterback. And then people were like skeptical about this individual's quarterback and how he was going to do good. Maybe he could change this sophomore's career up. But this sophomore I'm talking about is Michael Pittman. As I love Michael Pittman. He's 6'4", 230. He's a really big target.
Prototypical. I love it.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the foreseeable number 1 guy there. And with the whole Carson Wentz going down during training camp, could potentially be almost till the end of September, maybe early October, depending on how graphic that those 5 to 12 weeks of that injury is. I really thought like it was interesting to see when they drove down with Phillip Rivers. They got down within the 20-yard line. I'm like, oh, this is so Michael Pittman right here. But T.Y. Hilton. And they like Michael Pittman would do all like the yards average carry down after his catch. I can't even talk right now. But he would drive it down, and then they would get down to the end zone and go T.Y. Hilton. So Michael Pittman, he's go ahead.
Michael Pittman is the guy that is going to be there. I'm sorry, he is the guy. I just wrote an article of players to avoid, and little sneak peek. One of them is T.Y. Hilton. Avoid him like the plague. Like, he's not worth it. He honestly isn't. And Pittman
he's also old in Dynasty. His values
for Dynasty for sure. Get
now.
rid of him. Just get rid of him. Find a guy that likes him and trade him. Like, other than that, just get rid of him. Pittman is the future. Oh yeah, for sure. Pittman is their future. I agree with 100%. He is.
Yeah. So I'm hoping
who you're looking for.
I'm hoping his numbers will probably double. Last season, Michael Pittman had 3 carries, rushed for 26 yards on some option type play, and he was averaging 8.7 yards as a carry. That was kind of cool to see them utilize him as you take a receiver and give him a kind of a weird wildcat or something, whatever they were doing. But he has those. But then as his targets as a receiver, had 57 targets, 40 of them he caught, so 40 receptions. And he had like 500 receiving yards and a single touchdown. Again, he was also gone for almost, I think, 7 weeks.
No, he was only out for I think 3.
Or was it until week 7 he broke out or something like that?
Yeah, he didn't really become part of the offense till week 7. He was
that's probably what the 7's triggering in my mind right now. But I know he was gone for a significant time. But yeah, I think that regardless of who's there, either Jacob Eason or Carson Wentz or even Ellinger. I think they even Brett Hundley is there.
Yeah.
So fun guy to watch. If Brett Hundley is a really cool guy outside of football. If you haven't met him, he was in Arizona for a little bit. But his profile picture, he travels everywhere. But shout out to Brett Hundley. But I think he's going to be the guy. I think he's going to be my breakout regardless of who is the quarterback there now. So that's my breakout sophomore here. You could probably get him later in your draft. I don't think a lot of guys are getting him early. Probably sneak him into like double-digit draft picks somewhere around there for sure. So that's my sophomore offensive breakout. Okay. Yeah.
So my guy is a little bit higher on people's lists probably, and that's T. Higgins. This guy,
He was my second guy, man.
yeah,
I'm not kidding. That is so crazy. That is
T.
funny.
Higgins. T. Higgins is somebody that I I want to have everywhere. I'm in a conundrum right now in my keeper league. I have Stephon Diggs in the 4th round, and I have T. Higgins in the 18th. And I also, I'm
Oh,
keeping. It's a 2-person keeper. I'm already keeping Gaskins because he's 18th round too.
is
But
there a
who do I
round
keep?
penalty?
No round penalty.
Oh,
It's
dude.
we have a 2-year cap. That's where the fun is. Is that
Okay. Okay.
and I don't have a pick in the 5th round. I don't have a pick in the 7th round. So for me, it's one of those, I have all these different, options that I can go with, but Diggs just seems to be the better option. So I know if I keep one of these guys, I'm losing the other. And Higgins, I don't want to lose if I don't have to, because I really feel like he can do something. I mean, the guy had 108 targets last season, caught 67 of them for 908 yards and had 6 touchdowns. The guy really showed promise. He did really well in a system with Joe Burrow. And, Tyler Boyd was there and he still did well. I mean, Burrow spread it out and gave all his receivers above 103 targets each. I mean,
Oh
that's
yeah.
incredible.
No,
And
that's amazing.
yeah, and so for someone like for a team like that to spread it out that well, I mean, there's going to be a small decline in everyone's numbers in some shape, way or form. You're getting Joe Mixon back, who's somebody that can catch the ball out of the backfield. He,
Supposedly, allegedly,
he can.
hasn't showed me yet, man.
Hey,
I traded
I
him so fast last season. I
I
want
like
no
him
part.
very much. I really am on. He's one of my higher guys that I'm on compared to a lot of others. I really think he's being undervalued in a lot of ways.
I
So
see
if you
that.
can
I'm
get him in
just
the
so
second,
emotionally hurt by him.
no, no,
Too many years. I'm done with him.
I understand. But for me, the whole team, the whole offense, if Burrow's healthy, if he's able to get out there, I mean, he's practicing. You see, if you're watching NFL Live, you're seeing him throw the ball
Oh
and he
yeah.
looks good. He looks, mobile enough to stay in the pocket at least. And, they upgraded their linemen. So they at least have, people to block for him. I mean, I think they should have went Sewell instead of Chase, but that's my own opinion.
As most everyone agrees. Yeah.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I understand the reason you go with Chase. I mean, everyone in that draft decided to go with the wide receiver that played with that particular quarterback. I mean,
Right. Right. Right.
Jalen Hurts, getting Devontae Smith, and then you got Waddle going with Tua. I mean, you got all these guys playing with their old quarterback in college. So either way, my point is that either way, T. Higgins has a really good chance to break out. A lot of the reports are saying that him and Burrow have a great chemistry, that, Burrow's talking him up. Burrow, everyone is really, there thinking that he's going to be the guy. I mean, I really do think he has the ability to, and I think he's going to be something special, the next few years.
I agree. What's crazy is there was an alert maybe yesterday that Chase wasn't meeting their
Yeah.
expectation. Uh,
He's not getting out of routes quick enough.
right.
He's not getting enough separation.
Right.
Yeah, I
So
saw that too.
uh, now, with that being said, I don't think people realize that T. Higgins is like 6'4", 210.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
T.
he's big.
Higgins is a big man.
He's just as big as Michael Pittman. It's funny. So
Yeah,
like
he's
these
6'4",
guys,
215.
yeah, like that's awesome. I would love to have a
Oh,
tall.
for me, when if you can remember a few about I think 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago, the Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, Marcellus Bennett, like that is my ideal wide receiver group. Is 2 guys at 6'4", 225 with a little guy at receiver. I forgot who they had at the time. It'll come to me. And then you have, a really decent sized tight end that can catch like Marcellus Bennett at the
Yeah,
time. So, I mean, that's what I look for. I like that Brandon Marshall or Julio Jones or, anyone that size that can just run a 4-3, 4-4 that can just get up and get it. I mean, those are the guys I love. I love guys like T. Higgins. I'm really big on Pittman. I can't put him higher because of the fact that the quarterback play and everything. That's what Carson Wentz made me really nervous with any of the receiving options there. But at the same time, everyone keeps going, oh, they have the best line and this, that. Yes, they do. They're a really good line. They tried to fill in their left tackle, when they lost Costanzo.
Yeah, Costanzo, yeah, their center, yeah.
Oh, no, their left tackle.
Left tackle?
And then, he's their left tackle. They have Nelson on the left.
Steelers. That's what
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that isn't that Villanueva though?
No, Villanueva was a left or right tackle. I'm thinking of Mike Pouncey? No.
Pouncey was the middle. Yeah, Marcus Pouncey. Yep.
Something like that. Yeah, that's what I'm getting confused with. But yeah.
Yeah, he was something that they lost somebody. I think they picked up somebody that's worth it. I forgot who it is off the top of my head. But they do still have a decent line, but I still don't see it. Carson had a really decent line back in Philly. I mean, he had Brandon Brooks and he had, Jason Peters, who's going to be a Hall of Famer at one point, and he had all this talent around him on offensive line. He still got hurt, like all these things where, I mean, his years there, he got hurt more near the end of the season, but he doesn't scream to me that he would be the option there. I mean, it's great that they went out and got another person, but they're just getting bridge quarterbacks because they feel like the quarterbacks aren't ready to the Andrew Lucks of the world, where they feel like they can grab someone. So I get it, but I don't think he would be. I don't think he's the savior there for them to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Eason's okay. We'll see how he does, but I'm still not convinced. So that's where, guys like him, Jack Doyle, Mo Alley Cox, or Paris Campbell, or Zach Pascal.
Basically, any of them. I mean,
any of them.
This, but we'll get to witness all that in the next couple of weeks, though. So this is what preseason is about. Last year, we didn't get to see any of this. We didn't really get to see Eason play as what they drafted him for. I mean, I think they got him in the second round. So these next couple of weeks are definitely like last year's rookie. If they didn't break out and they're still on the squad, I think this is their time to actually experience that preseason, get the early season jitters. Like they're not just thrown out there. So this is their time to actually get a little bit of rep in, get that work in. A lot of these guys needed that. It's to get molded into that defense or that offense that they're playing with. And I agree with what you said. You don't know if he's that guy, but again, we'll see with Jacob Eason being there, see if this preseason helps out. And with the preseason helping out some of these guys, my guy on the defensive side needed this preseason.
Yeah.
He needed this preseason to get molded, like I said, into their defensive side stats. And this is Isaiah Simmons from the Cardinals. We all expected high expectations out of him. First game we saw and witnessed, it wasn't that great. Funny because Raheem Mostert, who we talked about earlier, was the main guy who made him look like a joke. He just burnt him so hard. Everyone was questioning Isaiah Simmons' talent, how well he did, but it was his first NFL game, which counted. It wasn't a preseason game, but overall, Isaiah Simmons got 39 tackles, 6 assists. He got an interception, a forced fumble, and 2 sacks. Now, it's not entirely too bad. He did a lot better than some would say, but he did okay, but we just expected more. I expect Isaiah Simmons to be the next guy being there. I know they just got Zaven Collins there. With those two, with Chandler Jones maybe wanting to get traded, we'll see if that actually is successful or not. And then J.J. Watt, they brought him there. I expect the Cardinals defense to be nasty. They also got a safety from Tennessee. I cannot remember his name, but I know he's Butler, I think. Yeah, Malcolm Butler came over from Tennessee to the Cardinals.
Yep.
And then, and Buda Baker's still there. Look, I expect Isaiah
Love
Simmons
Buda
to
Baker.
change. Like, we'll see in the next couple of weeks. I hope that we see the guy that we expected to see from Clemson definitely show that talent there, and that is my defensive IDP in any dynasty startup IDP leagues. I think Isaiah Simmons you could probably get somewhere in your later rounds because a lot of people aren't really thinking about it. Everyone's thinking about TJ Watt and Roquan Smith and Jeremy Chin and Buda Baker, all those top guys. But I think Isaiah Simmons is you could probably sneak away with later rounds. That's my defensive guy.
He was like they kept calling him a generational talent that he could play anywhere. And if you watch his really highlight reel, he is something special. I mean, the guy is huge and he's able to move like a cat. I mean, the guy is definitely something, I really wanted him in that draft. If he was even available when we were, drafting, I was like,
I remember I was the same way. I was like, I hope he falls down to the Falcons, but
yeah. And it never happened, and that's fine. And the Giants never do what I want them to do anyway. So either way, he was still a really good player. I mean, he didn't do well last season. He played all 16 games. He only got 39 tackles. I really do like him, moving forward. So hopefully he can do something. I like you said, that defense looks way better than it did, and I really think that they have a chance to do well this year. So hopefully he can really add to that and definitely break out. My guy that I picked, there are a lot of decent options. I mean, Jeremy Chin and Chase Young are just obvious, and I'm not going to
they already
someone
broke
like
out.
that. They've already kind of broke out.
Yeah.
So like we were saying, like they're not even like I couldn't roll with that. So I kind of went a little deeper. And I found someone that did just a tad better than Isaiah Smith, and that's Kenneth Murray Jr. of what? Oh yeah, he did better than Simmons.
I got you, man. I got you.
But Kenneth Murray Jr. of the Los Angeles Chargers, middle linebacker,
I like him.
He did very well. I mean, he had 68 solo tackles, 107 altogether. He had 1 sack. He had 3 pass deflections, but he didn't have any like interceptions or any forced fumbles or anything like that. But that's something that you build and, you kind of learn how to do. And, you get a little bit more into the system. You kind of get used to what you're facing and who and what can do, who you can knock the ball out of and all that stuff. So I really do like him a lot. I mean, he had just as many tackles or solo tackles as Jeremy Chin. Jeremy Chin just had those huge monster games of, those the touchdown returns and
it was week 10 against the Vikings.
And he had
I remember that
2 I remember it.
It was 2 fumble recoveries and he took it to the house. And
So I mean, those
awesome.
are what put his numbers above all these other guys where he was a monster guy that everyone now is going to be like focused on.
Oh yeah.
Kenneth Murray is someone you can pick up well late in your draft, for Dynasty IDP, and he's someone that can actually do very well. I mean, he did 9.2. I think it's 9.5 points a game. Based on your settings. I mean, that's not horrible.
No,
he can definitely
think about
do more.
It's like a touchdown and some yards if he offensively, really.
Exactly. I mean, and he's definitely someone that is fit in the system. I mean, he played all 16 games, which is definitely something you're looking for. You want someone that's durable that can play and be out there.
Dynasty's young as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the only guy that I can give an honorable mention to in this case, because you gave yours, I'm going to give mine, is Antonio Winfield. He's a stud for that, Tampa Bay backfield. He has good lineage. I mean, coming from Winfield, I mean, he was always a great, back in the day, he was fantastic. So he definitely has promise to do very well this season as well. But I really like Kenneth Murray a tad more. Just, if you're looking for that linebacker spot, he's definitely someone that you should be targeting a little bit later. He's definitely going to, he sits right now. I think he finished 38th last season. So he'd probably be, your 4th, 5th tier. And
Yeah,
if so, he's definitely someone you should look for in later in drafts when when the Devin Whites,
for
Zach
sure.
Cunningham's,
After
Blake,
you get your main primary.
Martinez.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
once he's definitely someone to back up your guys. Every one of those guys seems to get hurt at least once a year. Something comes up and you need to replace them in bye weeks and all that stuff. So
Yeah, for
he's
sure.
definitely worth getting.
I agree. I actually like Kenneth Murray. When he was coming into the draft, I was like actually trying to shoot for him
Yeah,
in the draft, and unfortunately that wasn't the outcome. But I ended up with Jeremy Chin, but which is just fine
way better.
because
Yeah,
secret weapon there. He has a linebacker DB dual eligibility on
yeah.
sleeper, so I kind of flexed him every now and then in the
No,
linebacker
it makes
spot.
sense. Like
But
if you have a guy with that type of thing, that type of moniker where you're linebacker and the safety, you definitely take that guy. I mean,
oh yeah, for sure.
it's kind of like for the offensive side of ball, taking Taysom Hill as a tight end. Yeah, sure, I'll take him.
Right, right.
And then they
And
finally went, oh, this makes sense. Let's change it back. And
right, but I agree with Kenneth Murray. He's a good solid pick. I mean, people need to really
yeah,
think about the linebackers as basically the quarterback of the defensive side when it comes
yep.
to fantasy football. They're your main guys. They get the tackles, they get the interceptions, they get the sacks. They're kind of like that key piece. So I agree with Kenneth Murray. He's definitely good,
And I
solid.
think they have a good defense as well. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
their
overall,
defense is pretty
yes.
solid. With Casey Hayward on the outside with Nick Bosa, and I know they lost Melvin Ingram, but I think they picked up. Did they pick up Bud Dupree? No, he went to the Titans.
No,
Who was the guy? Who was the guy they picked up for the Chargers? They picked up somebody on the outside. I forgot the guy's name.
Ingram's out the door. Bosa was there. You're talking about in the draft, right?
No, I think they picked someone up in free agency after Ingram left, and I forgot who it was off the top of my head. It was
Uh,
just somebody that I went, oh, that guy would pair well with this guy.
I can't
Forgot who it
remember because
was. It's all right.
I know some big names were moved around, like Steph. I know it wasn't
Yeah,
Tua or anything like that, but
it
Dupree
was
was
in the
gone.
last few weeks, and
Yeah,
I can't remember.
but
But
no,
they
you're all good, man. I mean, you
and Corey Legit's there too. I think they have a solid middle of the field too. I think that all those things help. It can only help the linebackers. With the decent line because I know that Ray Lewis always said like I need you guys up front to make me look good. They're the ones that open the holes for him to make tackles. It's true. So hopefully that's something that the LA Chargers are looking to do and getting him featured a
and
little
he's
more. I
very
mean,
capable of doing it. Uh,
oh for sure.
I
He
mean,
he
he's got
definitely
the
had
size,
that.
he's got the speed. I think
Yeah,
he's very he has every tool that he needs to be that guy. So
yeah. He's
I
very
agree with you.
underrated.
But that was a very good sophomore breakout pick. I think both of them were Isaiah Simmons as well, and then with our honorable mentions as well. So overall, it was a good episode. Keep trade cut with Russell, Raheem, and OBJ. We shared our thoughts on that, and then with a little bit of IDP guys of sophomores. So again, this IDP show as well as offense. Just I can't leave out IDP in my opinion. If you don't do IDP and you're watching this, I strongly suggest doing it. It changes the way you look at defensive football. You don't no longer have to worry which defense I have to start. It's more of like which player can I put against my own running back, and you get the double points because what if your linebacker goes against your running back, and then you get massive points there. It's a
Yeah, that's a
really
good
fun
point.
aspect to try it out, look into it. But yeah, this is our episode for August 11th. Thank you, Mike from Get Right Fantasy Network. Thank you for coming in and
No
saving
problem, man.
the day.
Anytime.
Basically, we had a lot of hiccups today, last week. So if you're not doing anything next week and you want to do it, I'll I'll hit you up and
Yeah,
probably
hit
talk a
me
little
up.
bit more.
We'll see what's going on. Hopefully, I'm free.
But yeah, so again, you guys are doing your little tournament draft.
Yep.
So if you want to talk about that real quick before we sign off, just a little shout out to you
Yeah,
guys
we're
again.
doing mocks. Yeah, we're doing mocks Monday through Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time and 10:30 Eastern. So we're going to be doing that for a little bit, just for this week and next week. And then we're going to be going just to regular shows. The top 3 from those mocks during the week go and we do a mock of champions on Friday, and we live stream that, and we, talk a little football, talk about what's going on in the draft. And then the guys break it down on Monday, and we give you guys a winner. I'll see when I'll be on that show. It's a little late for me. It's 1 a.m. over here when they do that. So, but other than that, you can get anything from entry into our best ball league. So the top 3 from the all 4 weeks, they're going to be, facing each other in a best ball league that we're going to set up for them.
Yeah, I think I got an invite for that one. But
yeah,
still going to be out of town.
That might be. So that might be for another one, but this one is going to be for a chance for $50. We're gonna, nice. The winner of that's going to get 50, and then we have you can also gain entry into the listener league. We're going to put your name in a hat and draw from that, and then second place you can get some swag from us. Anything from a T-shirt or
nice.
Whatever
nice.
we got going, and first place. You get a chance to be in the listener league as well. You win some money, $25, and yeah, it's a great little thing that we're trying to get going, trying to get
nice.
more viewership, trying to get a lot more people.
Sounds
involved,
like a good old time. So that's Mike with Get Right Fantasy, and Anthony and Dustin and Wilson, all them over there. So check their channel out, and I don't know, it sounds like you win some money. So again, thanks for watching. Again, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever the hell you're at watching this. This is Dynasty Pylon, and next week we'll talk about a little bit more Keep Trade Cut, and maybe talk about a little bit on the preseason games and whatnot. But fantasy football season is here, and I'm excited.
Yeah,
get the draft's done, and we're not that far from a real actual game. I got excited for a preseason game. It was amazing.
Oh yeah. I'm all excited for Hard Knocks tonight. 10 o'clock.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, anyways, Mike, thanks again. Have a good night, and thanks for watching, guys.
Getting hype when I aim up, elevating that game up, stepping up to the competition. Only first place, and that's how I'm living. I'm with it till they digging up my grave, eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up into place. I was born and when I watched me elevate.